Hi everyone, this is Jama Malmi, and today I'm sharing with you a card that I made with WPlus9's Modern Peonies stamp set, and I played with some heat embossing and watercoloring. So this stamp set is new to me, although it's not new, and I really love the peony images, and I thought it would be really fun to watercolor them. I have some really lovely peonies in my yard that are just gorgeous every spring, and the woman who lived in our house before we bought it planted them, and they're just mature and amazing. So that's what inspired this. I painted them in a deep kind of pinkish magenta purpley, which is the color of some of the peonies that are in my yard. And although they are long gone now that it's fall, this is how I am remembering them. So I stamped that first image after playing around with the placement, and I decided I wanted to do a cluster in the corner. And I'm heat embossing that in gold. And then I'm going to do some masking so that this flower looks like it's at the front, in the forefront. So I'm stamping that same stamp on some Post-it paper that I'm then going to cut out to cover up that peony that's already stamped when I stamp some others next to it. So I'm fussy cutting this very close to actually kind of right on the line or even inside the line is what you want to do. And the Post-it tape didn't stick down very well, so I used a removable glue dot to get it to stay. And then I took some of the other stamps from the stamp set and I played around with them for quite some time trying to figure out where I wanted the placement to be. And I'm going to speed this up a bit more since I did play around with it quite a bit, trying to figure out if I want leaves or flowers and where I want them. And it's nice that you can just kind of take the stamps off and arrange them. Once I did get them exactly where I wanted, I just closed the MISTI door and I was able to get them right back where I wanted again. That MISTI is a beautiful thing. So I heat embossed those as well. First I brushed off any of the excess powder that I got on with a dry paintbrush. I forgot to use my anti-static powder tool before I embossed. And then I'm going to create one more mask so that I can stamp one more little bud image up at the top. And this placement was much easier because I had already decided what I wanted. I did use the anti-static powder tool first, which made it so that none of the embossing powder got stuck in stray areas. And heat set that once again. So now I'm going to slow this down a little bit more while I watercolor. I'm taping it to a board and I'm going to only go down half of this other side with the tape because I don't want to cover up any of the watercoloring area. And I'm playing around with these paints that I got at Hobby Lobby. They are by no means high quality. They are definitely just cheapo paints, and I hadn't used them before. So it took me a little getting used to these versus my Gonzai Tombi watercolors that I'm used to now. These they're not as saturated and you don't need as much water to get them to, or you shouldn't use as much water, otherwise they get too watered down and they don't have as much pigment. So I kept blotting with the tissue and going over it with other colors and trying to get the color just right, and I played around for quite some time while I was getting used to these watercolors. So I was trying to do some shading and highlighting and was having a hard time with these paints since I am not used to them. But I actually liked how it looked when I blotted up some of the water with the tissue and then went in with more color and trying different color variations. So once I got the hang of it a little bit better, I just kept blotting, and then I would dry in between and blotting some more and adding more color. And so anyways, I kept playing around some more, and in a moment I'm going to speed up this process even more because I took so long to figure this out. But I'm very happy with the final product, which is the most important, along with the fact that I just enjoy the creative process and figuring out the differences between watercolors. I am still new to watercolors, and although I know these are not high quality watercolors, I enjoyed figuring out the differences between these and how to paint with cheap watercolors versus a more pigmented, high quality watercolor. And this was a good stamp set to figure that out with too. They're nice big flowers and they're pretty forgiving. I like that the color actually went outside the lines a little bit too. I was not happy when that first happened, but I like the final product where it went out the lines a little bit. So once I'm finished with the coloring and happy with that, I'm going to take it off the board and I'm going to stamp the sentiment in my Misty. And I'm going to use my Misty because that way I know I won't mess it up after spending all that time on the watercoloring. And there's some really lovely sentiments in this stamp set. And for lots of different occasions. So it's a great stamp set. I am remembering to use the anti-static powder tool here. And I'm going to heat set that once again. That embossing powder I've had for like at least 20 years. I got it in like junior high or high school, I can't remember. And it's still great. So I did get this card a little bit warped through this whole process, and I'm running it just plain through my my die cut machine to help flatten it out. And then I also put it under a heavy book overnight, which helped flatten it right out the next day. I am applying some shimmer with Close to My Heart shimmer brush, which is just like the Wink of Stella, but this is the gold shimmer pen, and it's a clear like gel, or like the clear like liquid part with gold shimmer. And then I realized I missed some stems when I was painting, so I fixed that. And I'm trying to show you the shimmer. It's really hard to see on camera, and it's not very good in the pictures either, but I added some splatters off camera that finished it off nicely with those gold glitter gems as well. So thanks for watching. I'm going to link everything I used below. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks so much for watching.